Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan B. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video. I'm coming to you from my Star Wars office, as I call it, where I do my work, and I have my Star Wars collection. For those of you who've been watching this show for a while, you may notice that the backdrop has changed a little bit. This is the first episode of this show, I believe, since I made that change, though you may have caught that in the project update video from a few days ago. But what we're looking at here this time around is some reissues again. Only this time, instead of reissues from the US, we're looking at reissues from the UK. You may recall that right around holiday time in the US, Walmart did a big blast of 7 reissues all at once. You had a reissue of the DVD release of The Force Awakens and the DVD release of Rogue One with new actual packaging. Then you had Blu-ray reissues for both of the films. In that case, just with new slipcovers over the regular packaging. And then they did the whole slipcover over regular packaging thing again for the prequel trilogy and original trilogy DVD Blu-ray combo packs from 2013 and the complete saga set reissue from 2015. But in every one of those cases, there was at least a little bit of added value because they included that special Walmart exclusive DVD of Forces of Destiny Volume 1. Say what you will about Forces of Destiny, and I've said a lot. Not all of it positive, but at least it was some added content to give people a reason to go buy those reissues. Well, the reissue craze around holiday time in 2017 actually also occurred in the UK, only in not as grand a fashion because there were less of those releases and none of them had Forces of Destiny with it. They were simply reissues of old discs in new packaging, as we see most of the time with reissues, but there were 5 of them, as opposed to Walmart's 7, as releases in the UK. Now, all the ones we're going to look at this time that are new reissues, I believe were available widely in the UK. I do know that Julian Smith, who was able to acquire them for me, he said that he first saw them at Sainsbury's. It is possible they may be exclusive to Sainsbury's, but I believe they were wide releases. Maybe some of our folks in the UK who are watching can clarify that down in the comments. But let's rewind a little bit and make sure we know what the UK had the first time around, and second time around when it comes to The Force Awakens, so that we can then compare it to what the UK got in this set of reissues. And in doing so, we will also need to compare some of the reissues from the UK with some of the early launch items for both of those films in the US, because it turns out that the new reissues from the UK actually mirror somewhat some of the packaging that was exclusive to Walmart in the US. Got all that? Yeah, a lot of different reissues and things, moving parts here, so to speak. So, let's take a look at what the UK got originally for The Force Awakens. You may recall that they had a regular single DVD release in similar packaging to the US. Then you had 2 regular Blu-ray releases that were the film on Blu-ray with no commentary, because this was the original release, and a Blu-ray bonus disc with no DVD copy or digital copy included at all, like the US did. And in that case, there were 2 different slipcover versions that you could get. There was the dark side version, and then you had a light side version. Also, if you wanted to buy through retailer Zavvi, they had an exclusive steelbook, which was the international steelbook without all the text on it, with the pictures on the spine instead of text on the spine that we've looked at before. Then eventually, when the 3D Collector's Edition came around, they got their own version of that, only again, it was Blu-ray 3D and Blu-ray with the Blu-ray bonus disc, though the regular Blu-ray did add the commentary, of course, because that disc was updated, but you didn't have a DVD copy or a digital copy with this one either. DVD copies with Blu-rays and digital copies with Blu-ray releases really just aren't a thing in the UK like they are over here. But the Collector's Edition for 3D got that lenticular cover, very similar to the US release, just without the DVD or digital copy. Rogue One, meanwhile, originally got its single-disc DVD release, got 1 regular Blu-ray release, again, no DVD or digital copy with it, that had an exclusive slipcover, and then later could be found just with its regular cover that basically matches the US version. There was, again, a Zavvi exclusive steelbook, only this one looked more like the US one because it did have the English text on it. And they had a wide release of a 3D version of Rogue One, whereas the US only got 3D versions in the exclusives from either Target or Best Buy, and their wide release 3D version looked like this. So, a lot of different releases for both of those films in the UK that weren't exactly like their US counterparts, but had packaging sometimes that was similar, and discs that, other than language options, generally were basically the exact same content as over here. Meanwhile, in the US, at Walmart, each time one of those new films was released, Walmart got an exclusive, and the exclusives had a similar pattern to them. This was the US Walmart exclusive version of the original release of The Force Awakens. You had the BB-8 cover, it had the whole Velcro thing going on here, and it did include some of those Star Wars Connections game discs for that game that itself is exclusive to Walmart, but underneath, it was just the regular packaging. And then for Rogue One, it was pretty much the same style of thing. 2 Connections discs this time instead of 1. Regular packaging underneath one that has a droid on, in this case K2SO, and yes, again, it was Velcroed. Albeit, Velcro I had a hard time with there for a second. So, these were the Walmart editions. You might call them the droid exclusives because that seems to be the pattern. One wonders what it's going to look like for The Last Jedi. Maybe it's the evil Imperial droid, or evil First Order droid, excuse me, that we're going to wind up seeing. But we actually haven't seen Walmart exclusive packaging announced yet as of today, January 31st, 2018, for The Last Jedi, even though we are basically less than 2 months away, as far as we know, from the actual release. Of course, we also haven't seen a Solo trailer, and that's coming in May, less than 4 months from now. And we haven't seen an official announcement of any of the home video stuff at all for The Last Jedi through StarWars.com, so maybe I'm just asking too much to say, hey, what are the Walmart ones going to look like for The Last Jedi? We probably won't know until much closer, unfortunately. But that's kind of beside the point, this time. The UK then got reissues, again, of The Force Awakens and of Rogue One late in 2017, possibly exclusive to Sainsbury's, as I said, but probably wider releases. And in this case, again, there were 5 products in question. The one that doesn't fit the mold of the other 4 we're going to look at is this. They actually got a reissue of basically the 3D Collector's Edition of The Force Awakens without calling it a Collector's Edition. I guess because the packaging isn't special and lenticular anymore, where it simply says Star Wars The Force Awakens 3D. Okay, no Collector's Edition listed. You got your ratings down there in the corner, plus the Blu-ray 3D symbol here, and very much like that red packaging for the 3D wide release that we got for Rogue One in the UK, you have sort of that same dip of color here that tells us Blu-ray 3D also includes 2D Blu-ray plus bonus disc in pack. It's in a regular Blu-ray case. There's your spine. Spine has Blu-ray 3D, Star Wars The Force Awakens 3D, product number, ratings, Lucasfilm logo. The back, information about it up at the top, your vital stats as you go down, your ratings at the bottom, as one would expect. But again, just in regular packaging here, rather than being in the fancy schmancy packaging that had a lenticular cover. You open it up, you've got your 3D disc, okay, that we've seen before. You've got your updated film disc with the commentary, and you've got the bonus disc with the updated bonus features on it. So this is that October/November, depending on your region, 2016 release of The Force Awakens in 3D with the updated regular Blu-ray discs, but no DVD, no digital copy, put into regular style packaging for the UK. Now, if you're watching this from somewhere else in Europe outside of the UK, you may be looking at this saying, hey, I've seen that before. What's so special about this? That's not a reissue. That was the original issue of the 3D version of The Force Awakens. Yes, this looks almost exactly like the original release of The Force Awakens in 3D in many other regions. But in the UK, they got the special lenticular packaging that mirrored what the US got originally. So this is actually something new for the UK, even though it looks very much like something old for many other regions. Now that was a reissue in regular packaging for The Force Awakens in 3D, but since Rogue One already got a regular 3D release earlier in the year, presumably they didn't see a need to reissue that one, so there was no corresponding new reissue of Rogue One 3D. They just stuck with the original Rogue One red packaging from earlier in the year. But when it came to the regular releases of The Force Awakens on Blu-ray and DVD, and Rogue One on Blu-ray and DVD, each of those got a reissue at the end of 2017. For The Force Awakens, this was a new reissue of the Blu-ray. Again, Blu-ray only. We have a cover here that looks a lot like the one from Walmart, except it's not one with Velcro. It doesn't open or anything, although the Star Wars The Force Awakens logo is nice and embossed over here. BB-8 is not in this case, unlike what we saw with the Blue Fans release. You've got your ratings, Blu-ray symbol, otherwise pretty clean look. Your side, you got your little opening there for the security item to go in, but you have Blu-ray disc, Lucasfilm, nothing, product number, ratings. Similar back as far as the text specs go here, the ratings at the bottom, the text up at the top. The other's fine. Blu-ray symbol, Lucasfilm, Star Wars The Force Awakens, product number, and ratings. What's inside? Oh, it's just the original release, sitting there in its nice blue Blu-ray case. If you open it up and you look at the discs, kind of disappointing. It's the original version, because that's basically what this was, right? It's the original version of The Force Awakens without commentary, and the original bonus disc that doesn't have as much stuff as the second bonus disc. It's just a repackage of this release, but instead of having either the dark side or light side cover over it, they put a new slipcover on it that basically mirrors the Walmart April 2016 release. Alongside that was a corresponding DVD reissue. Similar packaging, all the same stuff, basically, on either side, and the spine. Similar on the back to their regular DVD release here. Inside it, of course, just the regular DVD release. But remember, when this was originally released in the UK, it had no slipcover at all. This is the first time this, which is just, again, the DVD release, given a new slipcover, has a slipcover at all. So, kind of neat that they're finally getting a slipcover as a holiday exclusive. We actually saw the same thing happen in the US when we had that gold border Walmart exclusive reissue back at the end of 2016 that finally gave a slipcover to the US DVD-only release. But unlike what happened in the US at the end of 2017, where the new packaging for the DVD release of The Force Awakens actually had a new slip of paper that goes inside this, so the art was actually new entirely. In this case, it's like all those other ones in the US, where the inside's the same as the old release. The only new thing is the slipcover. And unsurprisingly, I would think, since we've seen so many patterns in home video, that's basically what they did with Rogue One as well. For Rogue One, we have a release here that looks very much, again, like the Walmart version in the US, but again, no nice, funky Velcro, but the title is somewhat embossed. We've got our Blu-ray symbol, hard to see down there against the water, but it's there. Our ratings, the title, K2SO, but otherwise fairly clean. A similar spine, Blu-ray symbol, Lucasfilm symbol. On the way down, you then get your product number and ratings. Other side, Blu-ray symbol, Lucasfilm symbol, title, product number, and ratings. Back, info about the film, cast and crew, plus all your vital stats and ratings as expected. And as you probably expected by now, you open it or you lift it up. And yes, it is the original release underneath, which yes also means that it is those original discs, no 3D disc included. And of course, no DVD or digital copy, but I would hope that by now we're sort of taking that for granted for these UK releases. And last but not least, yes, they put out a corresponding DVD, and yes, just like with Rogue One, it's basically the same cover design, put in there as a slip cover. Same setup for the spines. Same setup here, same little hole for the security item. Again, if you open it up, though, it's just the original release on the inside. But as the original release did not have a slipcover in the first place, this is the first time you're able to get a DVD of Rogue One, just like with The Force Awakens, in the UK, in packaging that actually has a nifty little slipcover over it, rather than just being the DVD case itself. So yes, 5 different Star Wars reissues of recent releases, all reissued in the UK around the holiday season of 2017, very much like what happened at Walmart in both 2016 and 2017. Only in this case, we wound up seeing a more subdued approach with only 5 reissues, as opposed to what we saw in the US with 7. I would also note that the dividing line between the 5 versus the 7 does come down to companies involved. every single one of these from the UK, those are releases from Walt Disney Home Video. In the US, you may recall that you had 4 of them from Walt Disney Home Video, the 2 for Rogue One and the 2 from The Force Awakens, but then the other 3, the multi-film packs, were all reissues from 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment that happened to coordinate with Walt Disney Home Video for the slipcovers and those bonus Forces of Destiny discs. In the UK, 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment did not get into the act. It was just Walt Disney Home Video, hence just Rogue One and The Force Awakens, but they did do a reissue with 3D, which is something we didn't get over here, and unfortunately, they didn't provide any kind of added value to these because the Forces of Destiny disc is nowhere to be found. On the plus side, I guess, these do tend to be all region when it comes to the Blu-rays, if not the Region 2 DVDs, but I'm not sure that for many, that's going to be enough to justify a repurchase. Unless you're a collector like me and you've got tons of stuff sitting on the shelves that are the exact same discs over and over again with different packaging. But again, at least it's not as many as Spaceballs, so I guess we're in fairly good shape. For now. We'll see what they do with The Last Jedi and whether or not Holiday Season 2018 gets yet another round of reissues both here and in the UK. Here's hoping it's not nearly as many because that stuff's pretty expensive when you're already buying Christmas gifts and stuff like that. But I digress. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Julian for acquiring these for me so that I can put them into the collection. And may the Force be with the home video viewers.